Hello, you are through to the man, the legend that is Everyday Superpower. Welcome to the nonverbal community where we converse about body language and nonverbal communication. If you like what you hear, click like, feel free to subscribe and feel free to leave a comment if anything during this video is of any importance or conjures any sort of opinion whatsoever, alright? So, once again, as we have been doing, we're going to stray away. I know I sort of state that it's body language and non-verbal communication, but we're starting to delve into the realms of communication full stop and what it signifies and where it's rooted and so on and so forth. Today we're talking about nagging, so we are actually talking about verbal communication. So I should have left a little disclaimer, yeah, but it's all part of the big picture, right? So we talk about nagging or whinging, all right? I don't know if there's particular words for where you're based, but here in the UK we call it nagging and whining, and yeah, I don't really know if we have any other synonyms, but it's a whining voice, yeah, used as a form of punishment to manipulate the other party or parties into doing something they would rather not do, basically. So it's a punishment of means, it's negative reinforcement, alright? So when we speak of positive reinforcement, we speak of giving somebody a treat or a pleasurable experience of sorts for doing something we want them to do. It's a form of, it's manipulation basically, but you could also consider it persuasion or general good communication, alright? So if I say thanks to you assisting me, that's a positive trade-off, and me saying thanks is that positive reinforcement to say thank you, you know what I mean? Of course, you can take it wherever you want to take it. So another example of positive reinforcement would be if my dog does a trick when I ask it to, and I will feed it a treat to say, well done, you deserve this for doing what I tell you. And of course that is used in a whole realms of manipulation. It's how a pimp will control a hoe. It's how the government controls the people. It's how the boss controls the subordinates. Okay, so let's talk about negative reinforcement, right? Negative reinforcement is the pain rather so than the pleasure to motivate an individual. So we talked about, well, I referenced the boss and the subordinate. So if you get a scolding by the boss, if the boss says, what are you doing? I'm going to fire you if you do that again. If you make a mistake, that's going to possibly make sure you don't do that same mistake. It's negative reinforcement, okay? And same with the teacher who says, you're suspended for 2 weeks for your bad behaviour. Then you might come back and feel that it's irresponsible to act in that same way again because you know the boundary has been set, alright? So nagging and whining is a form of negative reinforcement to say, do what I say or I'm going to bother you, I'm going to annoy you, alright? Or I'm going to continue annoying you until you do what I ask you to do. So realistically speaking, it's not, it's through the eye of the beholder whether this is a effective form of communication or not, because it works to some degree, but what are the long lasting effects of communicating in such a means? All right, the cue is generally reserved for women and children. Men can whine, but the society we live within deems it inappropriate as it exposes the man as weak and childlike in a negative manner. As the dominant party, the man, the masculine, it is deemed inappropriate on a biological basis, on a subconscious basis, and as a societal basis if a man whinges. Now that's delving into philosophical and spiritual reasons as well as the biological and psychological. So there's no need to delve too much into that, but that's just the way it is. Alright? A man will get a result to some degree if they are to whinge and moan at their partner to do something for them. But in reflection to what a man is, it's worth doing yourself rather than submitting and having the feminine do that which they don't want to do on your behalf. Okay? So, it's an individual who can't solve a problem, essentially, so they need somebody else to do so, but rather so than ask politely, or rather so than positively reinforce, they go the route of negatively reinforcing. They shriek and create a deafening siren, which ensures that the other person will take action. Alright, it's continuous, it's annoying, and it's essentially a cry for help, okay? Like the baby crying, if you want to put it side by side with that. Alright, let's speak about children and whining and how it reflects as a regressive behaviour. So a child will whine for sweets, for ice cream, until one of the parents, more than likely the empathetic woman, the mother, will break and look after her child, rightfully so. To which extent, who knows, it's not important, but to ensure that the child stops the nuisance, it'll work, right? A woman who constantly moans and references marriage to a man who doesn't want to get married might end up getting the result just for him to shut her up. We see that. We see that in the world we live in. Consistently, constantly. Okay? It's a form of manipulation. It's specifically aimed at manipulating the individual. No aggression, no forceful words. Just a submissive degree of punishment for those who hear it. Consider it hypnotic as a means, a form of subcontext which may ensure a result. Okay, those who whine tend to be in the subordinate category and would rather complain rather than take the action themselves and get the result themselves. They need somebody else to do it for them. They need the masculine, the father figure to do it for them. The mother figure. Okay, it's a need for others to take care of them. As a man, let's speak on relationships. As a man, if you feel it's unnecessary or too far to obey the instruction and the whinge, you don't have to do it. If the other party can do it themselves and you feel it's unnecessary for you to do it and somewhat offensive for you to need to do it, say no. You will be met with conflict, but be a man. Even though the subordinate is asking you, the dominant, to take action, you become the servant when you do. So you have to be very selective and ensure that you're not wasting your day as a weak individual taking orders from what should be the feminine. Because that individual will then find the masculine who can put the feminine within their place and leave you for that. Okay? A little bit of dating psychology there. It's infantile, it's regressive. For me to go, me, can you help me, I need your help, me, regresses me back into my childlike state when I needed the help of parents and authoritarian figures. A grown-up should walk and stand alone. Okay? Can be coupled with submissive postures and erratic behaviour and tantrums, flailing arms. Very childish behaviour, very childish. No grown adult, unless they are within their childlike psyche, is going to be kicking and flailing and acting in such a means. And if so, that'll give you an insight as to how they were treated, if that's the proper word, as a child. If it's a princess who's always had everything given to her by mummy and daddy, she may act in such an extreme way when you don't give her what she wants. That's the child speaking, okay? And so you have to assess these situations, because these patterns are going to develop and you're going to live with these situations because it's psychologically embedded, hardwired within the brain of that individual to act in such a manner in the face of denial or so on and so forth. Alright, so I thought this was quite a good video, to be fair with you. If you enjoyed, click like, click subscribe, and leave a comment if any opinions come to mind throughout this. Peace.